lastly, just your overall impression first of all?
Yeah, disappointed with the result. For the scoreline sport like it did. Yeah, really disappointed. But it's been a real tough week. Really tough week. You know, you have a morale boosting victory against Leeds at the Magic weekend, and then Monday afternoon, you know, the injury report comes in, and you know that you're going to be playing Salford, you know, with 6 of that starting 17 not playing. So it was always going to be a challenge. And you know, then to play the game and then lose McShane and Maher Fano with, you know, 60 minutes of the game to go, and you're down to 15, and one of those 15 is a young lad making debut. It was a real uphill task, but the lads didn't throw the towel in. I know the scoreline blew away from us a little bit, but you know, Salford are a slick team, and you know, they throw some really challenging shapes at you, and when you've got a bit of a patched up, you know, team, you know, they was ruthless and they exposed that. So yeah, it was a challenging night, but you know, we can't be too disappointed. We've got to use this week to freshen up, try and get some bodies back, and then look forward to our next game.
I know he's gone to hospital. What's the situation with Paul McShane, as you understand it?
It looks like it could be a fracture of his forearm, so we're hoping it's just a really deep dead arm, but he seems to think it could be fractured, so he's currently at Pinderfields getting an x-ray, so you know, that could be a difficult one if that news is, you know, worst case scenario.
Timescale wise, what does that mean this day and age?
Oh, don't know. It depends how much milk he's drunk. You know, with regard to calcium on his bones, you know, if it's a fracture, you know, I don't know, maybe is it a 12-week job? I don't know, 8 to 12 weeks, I couldn't tell you. You know, I don't want to speculate too much because, you know, he's at the hospital now. Hopefully he's just had a really hefty blow to it, and it isn't fractured, but you know, if it's fractured, then you know he's going to miss a fair portion of the season.
The bench seemed quite disgruntled with the first 2 Salford tries. Were there an issue as far as you?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I'm not one to complain about the officials, but you know, the game provides some moments, and as a team, you know, you look to try and build pressure, and you hope that those moments, you take those moments what come. But the first try, he pushed Rhys Williams, pushes Maher Fano quite clearly in his back, arms outstretched, pushed him. So obviously Maher goes down and the ball bounces into Rhys Williams and he scores a try, 6-0. You know, so that was a real disappointing one. And then, you know, one I thought was a poor one to miss was in the middle of the field. You know, Ken Seo's carrying the ball, you know, from about their 30-metre line, and there's quite clearly a Salford player in the defensive line. Ken Seo runs straight at him. You know, our defender, I think it was Joe Westman, couldn't make the contact because of that player. Ken Seo then goes 35 metres, and it allows them to then kick in good ball. Unfortunately, Gaz drops the ball, but if that doesn't happen, they're not kicking good ball field position. So those two, you know, haters, and you know, the fact that they scored 2 tries off the back of, you know, a couple of official errors, in my opinion, you know, hurt. So, you know, it's disappointing, but you know, we all make mistakes.
You might look at the scoreline, or someone might look at the scoreline tomorrow and think you were sort of very much second best. There were some good moments from Cass in that game.
We started really well. We started the game really well. You know, we exposed a couple of those edge decisions that Salford make. You know, we rolled in a really nice kick. Will Tate gets both hands to the ball, and you know, on another day scores that, and that gets the scoreboard ticking over in our favour. Yeah, and then straight after half time, they put the ball down, and you know, we moved the ball with a nice shift right to left, and you know, again, Will's in a position to score in the corner, but just doesn't transfer the ball and catch it cleanly enough to get it into his left hand to score. Those are the fine margins in this game. You know, he'll learn from them. But I thought he showed some nice touches as well. You know, looks athletic, and you know, carried the ball strongly and made some good breaks. But you know, in this competition and in Super League, you know, when the moments come, you've got to nail them, and unfortunately tonight we just didn't quite nail those, and Salford did.
What were your thoughts about Aaron Willis on debut?
Yeah, he did okay. You know, that call was made this morning. George Lawler picked up a quad strain yesterday in team run, so he had a scan this morning, and he's ended up with a quad strain, so we ended up having to call Aaron in, you know, late, so that was a late change to the squad. But Aaron did a good job. You know, he came on. You know, I was reluctant to throw him on too early. I didn't want to, you know, expose him, you know, when Salford was in that period where he was running hot. So, you know, to give him the last 20 minutes of the game and for him to get a feel for Super League and the level that he has to get to, you know, it'll do him the world of good.
What was his reaction when you told him that he was playing?
Yeah, he was, you know, a little bit shocked but excited. But the type of kid he is, he's just come and, you know, shook my hand and, you know, thanked me for the opportunity that I've given him. And, you know, now he knows obviously what Super League and the demands of Super League, and I'm sure he'll go away. You know, he'll look back on this moment and hopefully he'll get a few more appearances in the future.
What's the plan for the next period just before?
We're in for review tomorrow on recovery. You know, we'll ice him and swim him and, you know, get an assessment on how the bodies are, and then we're training on Monday. They've got Tuesday off, and then they'll be in Wednesday, Thursday, and then we'll give them an extended, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, with a view to then coming back in, you know, for it's Warrington, I think, next. So it don't get any easier, but we've got to use this week to freshen them up, take care of any knocks that we've got, and, you know, see what team we can field, you know, leading into that Warrington game.
Any chance of any of those coming back in time, do you think?
Liam Watts obviously will be back. You know, the RFL helped us there with, you know, that decision to stand him down for one match. So, you know, that was a difficult one to cop on Monday. But yeah, there's a chance Watts will be back. Sam Hall picked up his knock in practice on Tuesday. That was just a really bad blow to his knee. A bit of a dead leg, didn't have full range, didn't feel comfortable, didn't feel as though he'd be able to perform. So we took the decision to obviously stand Sam down. So he'll likely be back. Melle will be fine. He's just obviously coming back from that HIA, so, you know, I think it's 11-day protocol, so, you know, he'll be back for that game. And then we'll need to get a second opinion on Elliot Wallace. He looks as though he's, you know, done a pec, so get a second opinion on that and see if he's able to perform with that or if he'll need surgery. So yeah, there's one or two who could come back.
Just lastly for me, there was some nice moments from Jason Gary, but he was put under pressure as well, wasn't he, on that side. Do you see these sort of games as being good for his development? Yeah,
I think, you know, that's the big thing. People like Jason, you know, young players, over the time that I've worked with those young players, they only get better from being exposed to it. And what you've got to do as a coach, you've got to expose them to it and accept that there's going to be some errors made. You know, Jace, you know, made some ordinary decisions last week from a pendulum point of view, you know, last tackle plays, you know, kick, you know, where he needs to be on kick plays. You know, we did some individual video with Jace, and, you know, he had to, you know, work on that tonight. And then, you know, this evening there was a couple of occasions where he's positioning on the end of the line when they're putting their shift plays on. He just wasn't quite where he needed to be, but he'll learn from that. You know, and it'll do him the world of good, you know, having a good look at that on video and learning from those things that he needs to improve on. But he's also, you know, showed some, you know, nice touches. He took a couple of really, really good catches under pressure, and, you know, took his try exceptionally well. We just need more from him. You know, I think it was a night tonight where he just needed to get in and carry the ball a little bit more from dummy half and carry the ball a little bit more out of yardage, because, you know, our middles were tired, and that's something he needs to recognise. He shouldn't have to be told, he needs to recognise it. So, you know, those are little bits of feedback we can give him, you know, next week, and hopefully he'll, you know, put that into practice against Warrington.
Just lastly, there's a rumour that Scott Morrell might be playing in the reserves tomorrow, is that true?
Scott Morrell is playing in the reserves tomorrow due to obviously all the injuries we've had at first team level. He's going to don the shirt and, you know, be a experienced pivotal player. He's looking forward to it. He's had his actual playing shirt on the fridge, what we've got in the coach's office, just to stretch it, just to make it fit him. So, you know, he's been doing his preparation. It's a true story. We've got a Red Bull fridge in the coach's office, and it's a cylinder thing, and it's very similar to the shape of Scott. So we've put the shirt on that just to stretch it, and he'll wear that tomorrow. But, you know, Scott's obviously, you know, stuck his hand up. He knows that the team's a little bit busted and depleted, so he'll be a experienced head, and, you know, he'll guard those younger blokes around the field, and he'll do a good job.
He might need some Red Bull.
Yeah, he might need some Red Bull to get through the full game. Yeah, that's right. Excuse me.
What did you think to Kane Rob's performance after McShane went off? I thought he handled the adversity quite well.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, he did okay. He's a little bit small defensively. I think they really spotted him, and he struggled with a couple of those big men. What we've got to do with Kane is he's got to stop being so indecisive. I thought there was some occasions where he just needs to pick up and run and use his speed a little bit better than he's currently doing. He's been a little bit indecisive from dummy half, so he'll be better for that experience as well. So Kane, he's a player who's got some potential. He's got some speed, but he needs to use it better than he did tonight for me.